Alright. Let's see. A second here. No, that didn't work. Hold on. Ay. I'm going to attempt to stay calm, but there will be sarcasm. Okay. It's actually honesty, but it's sarcasm. It comes off as sarcasm, but it's actually honesty. People don't like honesty too much. It gets me in trouble. They want you to lie to them or for them. I don't know what that's all about. All right. Let's see here. I have some issues I want to discuss and things that I've seen and heard about. Number one, I'm not the only target. There's other people as well. They were people, regular people. Okay, not some kind of alien. So, some of these are old. I've been saving them up so that I can print them out and go over them. All right, so Belarus, I don't know where that is. I think it's Greece, but I'm not sure. They have a big sign up that they want human rights. Obviously, they're not happy. So, I guess it's not just here that that's a problem. Aging. Aging people. Need you to look at this, okay? An aged up hand and an aged up car. This is part of aging you. Okay, it's seeding into your mind. You don't realize it when you're looking at it, but it honestly is. It's symbolism to brainwash you and plant a seed in your mind about aging. Okay. Also, if you look at the picture, do you see that? There's no ring on that finger circle. Okay. So that's another thing. Alright, so obviously I'm angry. Okay, this is a woman. Do you see her? She looks like Carol, like an older version of Carol. And this is a house, and at some point, I am not sure, but for some reason, I have memories of being inside of that house, as well as the basement of that house. I don't know anything about it, but I do have memory of being kept there. I saw it online, so I copied it and documented it. But she does look like Carol. She looks like an older version of Carol. Oddly, I think her name was Joy, or Joyce, and Dave, the one in Sauk Village, likes to say that I'm a joy to be around. Um, and he's very sarcastic when he says that. But when I looked at the pictures, it has a lot of fancy stuff inside, fancy furniture. She wanted an absorbent amount of money for that house. I don't know if she got it or not, but there was a blue rug in the basement, and that's part of what I remembered. Also, I noted that there was a lot of gold trim. A lot of times, subconsciously or consciously, I'm not sure which it is, when it comes to this insurance stuff, people seem to be drawn to the color gold. It might be a Carol thing for all I know. Because Carol, uh, the one that was my grandmother, um, this looks like definitely an older version, but it does look like her. Same facial features, just more wrinkled up. Um, she had gold, a thing for gold stuff. My neighbors too, and they're into the insurance stuff. Like they had a gold car, and they'll I don't know if it's subconscious or if it's conscious, because I'm not that way, but there's nothing wrong with wearing gold jewelry. I mean that's a special thing that is a gift, from one person to another. There's nothing wrong with that. But what I mean is like they'll have gold furniture, gold cars. Um, it's like they're drawn to it. I don't. It's somewhere in here, and it comes out in their subconscious. I think that's where it's coming from. Um, it's hard to say. I mean, there are certain people that seem to be drawn to certain colors, and sometimes they can determine stuff by that. But I don't try to read too much into just that. Just because somebody wears gold jewelry doesn't mean that they're a gold digger or that they would kill you for gold. Um, but at the same time, it's just something I noted. Like I noticed, from dealing with all this stuff. Um, you just can't read too much into stuff. All right, so let me keep looking here. Um, oh, urinals may have coronavirus. I'm not sure where their heads are at right now. If the tests that they're doing are, what they are. If they're strychnine tests, obviously, um, uh, they would be able to find that in people's urine. So it would be located on a urine. Okay, if that's what it is. Which means that it would be known about, which means people should stop. All right, so here is a thing I found that needs to be brought up. All right, this this top picture right here. Hold on a second. Okay, this guy right here is Dave that I'm turning in. Okay, you could see the mark under his eye. Okay, he's got blue eyes in that picture, but he can change them. All right, I've seen him change them. He might also be wearing contacts now, but I have seen him change them, or he did in the past. They were brown, and then he changed them to blue. I called them Skywalker blue. Here is a guy who, in the face, without that beard, he could look like Big Guy, the other Dave. So it would have been Dave when he was younger. Um, if he cleaned himself up some, he actually could, especially in the eyes. So I'm not saying that he is, but that's kind of my point, is that there are other people out there that look very, very similar to him, and that they did do that. This particular man is wearing overalls, um, and it says Davidson, like he's wearing a Harley Davidson shirt. The overalls means it's all of them, um, like all family members. Um, they've used that a few times to send me that message. Let's see. Here we go. 17 arrested in child trafficking sweep in Genesee County. Good for them, for catching them. One was a former police officer and firefighter, and that's sort of my point. Okay, so it's not like I'm just making this up or saying it. There are obviously cops involved in my case, and my kids were kidnapped, and it's happening in other places as well. Okay, and this is part of why people are angry and they're tearing up the streets. So it's not just about me. All right, it's happening all over the place. It's been going on for quite a while. Obviously, if I'm a victim of it, I've had to deal with officers. I've tried to tell them what had gone on. Obviously, I was ignored, given back to Dave. All right, and further abused and raped. Um, you know, all kinds of problems. All right, so that needs to be addressed, and because this is what the problem is. Now, I understand that I don't know which side it is. The Republicans say it's the Democrats. I don't look at it that way. Okay, People talk about defunding the police. Um, I actually understand what that means. It's not what you think it is. What what the people actually wanted to do was, from what I understand, was to defund them, to remove them from their positions, okay, and then hire new, um, with less Nazi-ish, that were more in tune, okay, that cared, that genuinely cared and would listen and take the time and spend the time to listen to the victims and, to actually fill out the reports and to do their jobs, and that wouldn't involve themselves in this sort of thing. Um, Americans, basically, people that genuinely cared about more than just a paycheck. That's what I think it had to do with, um, because the corruption issue was so bad, and the people are that beaten down and that abused, and oppressed, and this is America, and it should be that way. So that's really what it was about. I don't think it's about complete lawlessness, um, or anything like that. But the taxpayers are paying all this money in, and, the people are not getting provided what they're paying for. The people who are paying the money in aren't paying officers to not do their jobs, or to hunt, or become serial killers, or sex traffickers, or human traffickers. They're paying the officers to do their jobs, and that includes the victims. The victims of the crimes are also paying the officers to do their jobs. They're not being paid to put people in mental hospitals, or, to help the assailants. They're being paid to actually help the people. That's what they're there for. That's what everyone's spending the big bucks on. So, it's not right. I don't know if it would work or if that's really what the plan is, but the way it was explained to me long ago, that's what it meant. Um, I, I think that we definitely need people who care, who genuinely care, and are willing, to do the right thing and not the wrong thing, and stand up. You know, especially after what I've been through, you have no idea how many phone calls I've made and been hung up on, or they just have not done anything. They're just, um, letting my kids be abused and raped, and they don't care. Okay. Their overall attitude seems to be nothing will ever happen to them. They're immune. Um, your case will never be heard in court. I will never have to do time for this. Um, the law doesn't apply to them. Okay. So, that is basically, I actually had a cop say nothing will ever go. Of course, they jacked up my uterus, so maybe that's what she meant. It was a woman. That is definitely the attitude. All right, off subject of politics. Something else that I saw that upset me very badly. Uh, Smithsonian National Zoo says baby panda on the way as Mexi Zhang shows signs of labor. Some people know this, some people don't. I did a report on, the giant pandas, um, and then, I thought there was supposed to be a ban on people using bamboo for things. Then I noted on TV and in the stores, that they were selling bamboo stuff again. Um, Bamboo is about the only thing that pandas can eat. Okay, it's not really too much to ask to leave the bamboo alone so that the pandas can eat. They're already, almost extinct. All right, and, this right here, that's abuse. Okay, that's flat out abuse. It's abuse and it's wrong. It's absolutely wrong. There's no reason that the pandas can't have room to roam. Um, do you think when they're in the wild, they're confined in such a itsy bitsy little area? It's not okay. All right. So, you wouldn't want to sit in that little space, and you are way smaller than he or she is. So that's something you need to think about. It's one thing to give them a space where if they choose to go in to, feel confined, but to keep them penned up like that all day and night, That's abuse. And there's no reason for that. There's plenty of space. You can make a bigger area. Um, this is just hateful and mean spirited, and it's abuse. Okay. Um, I don't understand why anyone would do that other than to abuse. So, let's see what else. All right, they're talking about that QAnon stuff, which I don't know much about other than they're calling the people criminals, and obviously these people must know something. Maybe they know about the policies. Maybe they were told by Dave or his groups or whatever. Maybe it's something he cooked up. I don't know. All right, but uh, I don't, you know, I don't know what they're talking about. It's a satanic symbol and stuff that I'm not into. Okay, so because I'm not into it, I don't even know what they mean. Um, let's see. Good or Ob's observation. They're the party of Manolak, the Canaanite god demon who loved child sacrifice. Watching the DNC last night, I noticed their logo now, where I have seen that uneven star before, hiding in plain sight. Um, I've heard these words, I think, maybe from Dave, but I'm not sure. Um, I don't know. I don't know. Okay, it's not something I'm into. I know he said he built himself quite a following, so maybe that's what it is. I don't know. Okay. California serial killer murdered 13 people and raped a dozen of women in the 1970s and 80s. They arrested him. Um, Dave's participated in mass genocide, terrorism, um, you know, worldwide, given on his order. Um, so I mean, I don't exactly understand what they hang with this. They can arrest that guy and he's old. Let's see what else I got here. Oh, here's a good one. Aliens are here and they're breeding with humans, claims Oxford University lecturer. That is untrue. Um, I don't think that's possible. That would be like a cat breeding with a dog. Okay, so that one I wouldn't worry about. Oxford University lecturer. Questions for his next briefing. This is from Duty to Warn. Do you support QAnon's contention that certain Dems practice cannibalism? Do you suspect anyone? Do you want to be known as the anti-cannibalism president? Facebook recently took down hundreds of QAnon sites. It is Zuckerberg a cannibal? All right. Zuckerberg is a communist. Okay, and he has his own agenda, which includes staying out of jail for the policies. Okay, as well as all the censorship. Um, so that is a big thing. That site also could be used for sex trafficking as well as hunting. It was supposed to be meant so people could connect and stay connected with each other like families and friends. But when you have this much hunting going on as well as sex trafficking and targeting, it's not really that hard to see what's really going on. They are also doing a new thing now where if you make an account, they block it, or if they know who you are, they're sort of targeting you and keeping track of you a little bit more closely than they would someone else. So that's also part of targeting. So basically, what I'm trying to tell you is, Facebook itself right now, in my case, in my situation, genuinely is targeting and participating in hunting. Okay, so that's you know part of the thing. I think everybody figures that as long as Trump stays president or whoever has a policy is in charge, they won't get into trouble. All right, so that's what it boils down to. As far as the cannibalism is a problem. I don't know if it's a problem with Democrats or with Republicans. It's just a problem. Okay. Um, so yeah, and I don't know why that is. If Democrats actually believed no one was above the law, then why isn't the SDNY prosecuting the Clinton Foundation for funneling money to pay for Chelsea Clinton's wedding? Investigate. I don't know, but I will investigate. I don't. I don't usually get involved in this, but I suppose that's a good question. And what does he mean by funneling money? How is the money being funneled? So he's not giving you enough information to even, you know, to know. But the Clintons do have policies, so that should probably handle it if they're genuine. Which, again, if they're genuine, then that'll handle it. So don't worry about it. Okay. We have now seen the lengths he will go to protect secrets. But when a sitting president is accused of being compromised, acts like he's compromised and fights to the death to keep business dealings and financials a secret, how does all of America not ask, WTF is he hiding? That might be my trust fund, okay, and my CIA bank book, which is a whole lot of dough. All right. So, by the way, that trust fund isn't from insurance money. Right. It's not supposed to be. That trust fund is supposed to be uh, from before I was born. I think that's what they were after in the first place. I'm not sure. And then stuff that they put me in. Basically, it's blood money. I call it blood money because it's my blood all over my kids. Money from insurance, like if they've said a lot of the banks glommed, so like they would kill if they killed somebody and then they tried to cash the policies, the banks took the money. They never saw it. The government took it right away. So they knew what they were doing. I don't know why they've gotten away with it for so long, but he did say that that's what was happening. That they had tried to cash the checks and they put them, they never got the money. But I mean, again, that would all have to be straightened out. I don't want dirty money. I want my own money, but I don't want dirty money. So let's see. Why in the world would the president not kick QAnon supporters' butts? Nut jobs, racists, haters have no place in either party. Um, I don't know what that they're about. If they're bringing up cannibalism and sex trafficking and bad stuff, it needs to be addressed no matter what the group is called. That's part of the problem with groups. They get labeled and then, you don't like the whole group. If somebody's bringing a problem to your attention, you need to address the problem. That's why I'm not part of groups. I'm a Facebook group perhaps, but not these types of groups. All right. Oh, here's one that bothers me. This is very Adolf Hitler-like, and it needs to be brought up. Trump asks Supreme Court to let him block critics on Twitter. That's against the law. That's called censorship. It's against the First Amendment. We all have a right to our opinion, whether or not it's in alignment with him or even if it's disliking him. We have a right to post that. We have a right to speak out, and we have a right. We have a right to that. So he doesn't have a right to be asking a judge or anyone else to be blocking what certain people because he doesn't like their opinion, or even if they chose to protest him, or by not going to his rally, or even by protesting holding signs out in front of one. No one does. Okay, this is very, very Hitler-ish. Very Hitler-ish. You go against me, I'm going to take from you. I'll take your right to speak from you. That's not very American. Okay. and it's a constitutional violation. So we have all these fires going on. I don't know who's doing this, but it's upsetting. It's a lot of fire. So, journals. There was like 500 and something fires in one day in California, and they said something about lightning strikes. Um, that's a lot of fires. It's like the ones in the Amazon, um, 9,000 something in one day. So I don't know if that's people doing that. I guess that's what I'm thinking. I just don't. They've said they. I don't know who they are. I'd like to know who they are. Okay, who are they? I've been asking the question of who are they for a very long time because they need to go to prison for a very long time. And then I thought I figured out that they was Ed and Tony and Dave. So I don't know. All right. QAnon believes you're secretly saving the world. Oh, reporter. QAnon believes you're secretly saving the world from a cult of pedophiles and cannibals. Are you behind that? Trump. That a bad thing? We are saving the world. I hear they love this country. And then he turns around and says our president is a couple of eggs short of a souffle. All right. I'm not QAnon. Okay. We're saving the world. Just so you might not understand how that is, but that was supposed to be. Okay. Um, the reason for that had to do with pedophiles and cannibals, but it also had to do with hunting. Obviously, the life insurance had a lot to do with everything. Other planets were destroyed the same exact way, from what I was taught and told. Um, and it's not too hard to see how it could. Um, you have multiple problems um, as far as communist countries involved. They have nukes and we have nukes, and atomics, and all the heavy armor. It's very destructive to the planet itself. And then you have crazy people at the helm. Okay, so when you put it all together, because of life insurance being worldwide, poisoning being worldwide, people losing their minds on the poison and the drugs, which isn't completely their fault. Them sort of, a lot of them being hypnotized and not responding correctly, the possibility of cyanide making them feelingless. It's a recipe for disaster. Okay. Not eating properly, it's a recipe for disaster. This is a recipe for extinction thought up by those that help. Okay, it really is. It's not hard to see, and we never talk about that. We don't want to think about those types of things. But I said it before. You could go to sleep, and some crazy person could hit a button, and you and your family could not ever wake up again. And that's because these are crazy people that are inebriated and possibly spelled. Okay, so when you have a combination of things going on, people. I mean, if I lost my memory so many times, I'm sure these people might be having some issues too. It's very possible, right? It's not impossible. I've sat and looked at their faces and they look horrified about something, but I don't know what it is. Um, I've seen photos as well, so I definitely know something has happened to a lot of people and something is going on. Okay, and that definitely needs to be looked into and considered, which is why I told everyone to stay home. Okay, um, because I don't like the looks of this. This is something is irking me, and I don't know what it is yet. But I don't like the looks on people's faces. They look scared to death. Um, And I'm not saying that they're not gutsy. It's just something. It's like shock. Okay, and I understand that. Um, these things are nasty that we're dealing with. When you think about this, okay, you're talking about pedophiles and serial killers and cannibals and people eating and sex trafficking and human trafficking and rape and torture and abuse of all different sorts, some of which you don't even notice are abuse because you've become accustomed to them and used to them, but they actually are. Okay, when you put it all together, it's some pretty nasty stuff, right? And it's a recipe for a disaster. So, is the president doing it? No, obviously not. Obviously not him. All right. Putting on Brent. This Never mind. I'm not gonna even comment on that. Actually, I am. I actually am. Okay. It's somebody a nice blue insurance blue bedroom or whatever electric blue bedroom. Putting on Brent and fucking my sanctuaries. This is a woman, I believe, and you know, we have a very big problem right now going on. I've noticed with men seriously disrespecting women, seriously putting them down and trying to rob them of their self-esteem, trying to dominate them, abusing them, um, trying to turn them into what they want them to be, which is basically their slaves and victims, because that's what that is. Um, Doing this sort of thing is kind of counterproductive to not allowing that to happen. Um, so, I mean, that's something to keep in mind. In other words, I'm not being mean, but it's classless. Um, President Obama, our democracy is at stake right now. Oh, okay. Um, I'm not trying to be mean, but why is that exactly? And does it have to be? You can't tell me that he doesn't know. Right? It's not gonna work. So our democracy would not be at stake right now, if they stopped. Um, you know, his whole thing was hope for a change. I guess that was a lie too. Hmm. So, yeah, these aren't good people. Okay, they're lying to you. So, let's see. Donald Trump says he spied on my campaign out of the blue. I don't know who he is. Cat's brother, I suppose. And got caught. Well, I don't like being spied on. Having my privacy violated, being made to feel uncomfortable in my own skin, let alone my own house. All this rape stuff makes you squeamish. All right. Our nation was founded on a simple idea: all men and women are created equal. We've never fully lived up to it, but we won't stop trying. No. Our nation was created based on a promise. That promise was for a future, for one, that included freedom and liberty and democracy, as well as happiness. Okay, those freedoms were written down on paper and explained explicitly and in their entirety, and were meant to be adhered to all of the time, not just some. It's not a umbrella or a grid work. It's not to be interpreted. It is to be followed to the letter. Okay. If it was meant to be interpreted, they never would have written it down on paper. There would have been no point. They would have just said, do what you want. Equality became a part of that, but not until later on, really. That was a Lincoln thing. So it's not entirely what our country was founded on. It was founded on a promise of freedom and liberty, happiness, and justice. At this time, we don't have any of those things. The entire Constitution has been thrown out the window. Okay? And that's why the people are angry, and they have every right to be. So, yeah. I suppose this is part of what the problem is. They don't even know why we have a country, let alone that we have a constitution. I'm going to get on my soapbox now. Did you know that soldiers fought for our freedom and they gave up their lives? That a lot of them had amputations without anesthesia and they went to war without boots. And took weapons off the soldiers out on the field. That they taught their kids how to fight and brought them out on the battlefield with them. The kids, they're little ones, still young. And a lot of those kids died too. And that none of that's a lie. That's all true. There was a revolution. Okay, they didn't just hand you a country one day. People fought and died for all of us. Right? That is true. So they still do. Okay, they bust their butts, and then they come back home, and they're not treated very nicely, and that's not right either. They get gypped big time. You know, it's supposed to be honorable, but also when you're out there on the field, you are, as a soldier, are also to be honorable. And do you know why that is? Because you're representing the United States, and that's not supposed to be small potatoes. So you're also supposed to lead with valor and courage, and be honorable. And that means following your morals, having good values, being good to people, not abusing them or harming them. Obviously, not raping them. I hope you don't. But that's how you're supposed to be, uh, so that other countries don't get as bad of a taste in their mouth. That's not how you treat people and think they're going to like you and not cause a bigger problem. You know, you go over there and you rape, and then they come over here and two wrongs don't make a right. But that is, they get vengeful vengeance. All right. Okay. Um, I need you to keep in mind that this is driving me nuts. All right. And what I was taught and that I had to do. Ow, my foot is asleep. Um, that I had to do an entire drill on this, and that this was what this was actually supposed to be. And all right, so advice to the president. Sorry, but you posted it, so I have a right to comment on it. It's America. Other people do. Andrew Cuomo. Um, Number one, when you are in a hole, stop digging. The virus is real and spreading. Do your job on COVID. Number two, stop lying. You can't play Americans for fools. The truth is defeating you. I need you to keep in mind that New York participated in conspiracy to deprive, and that Andrew Cuomo was about to be a defendant in that case because he's the one in charge. And then, so that's treason, right? And when you're in a hole, stop digging. That's good advice. It's called projecting. The virus is real and spreading. It may be strychnine, and you might want to actually investigate that. Do your job on COVID. Um, do your job and actually investigate that. Okay. Actually, do your job and investigate that. Okay. Number 2, stop lying. Projecting again. You can't play American for fools. That's obvious. They're tearing up the entire country because they're so angry. Right? So that's actually obvious. Again, projecting. The truth is defeating you. Or projecting. Okay. Can you decipher this code? Here is a hint. This is from the CIA. And actually, I remember this. I was itsy bitsy though. I'm not going to bother with it, but I do remember this from beginning to end. That's what that means for me, from A to Z, from beginning to end. Okay. Trump, if stupid people aren't elected next year, we're going to have one of the greatest years that we've ever had. I hate that word with a passion. It's a banned word in my house. You're not allowed to say the word stupid to each other if somebody comes to my house. Even if it's like one of my kids' friends and they say the word stupid, I actually say something to them. Like, you're not allowed to say that. You need to apologize. I absolutely despise that word. It should be like deleted from everyone's vocabulary. I hate that word. I hate the word stupid. I hate the word retarded. They got seated into my own bad vocabulary, but I really don't like those words. Okay. Why I kept that one. Oh, they're slashing military healthcare by $2.2 billion. Okay. So we have a problem at home. We have a possible problem abroad. People get hurt from those problems. We have poisoning going on. I don't know if it's happening to them too, but it's pretty much, I think it's happening to all of us. Don't they need healthcare too? I mean, and don't they already get gypped? I mean those were the complaints that I received, and it wasn't that they said gypped, but that it wasn't even close to what it should be. They weren't being taken care of well at all, responsibly or well. So I don't know. It kind of confirms my point earlier that the soldiers are not being treated properly. It's almost like it's punishment for signing up, just for signing up, and it shouldn't be that way. All right. Mm, I'd like to point out that the president had spoken of colonizing Mars. Um, there was a thing on here, an article, and it said that. president spoke of colonizing Mars. And then this person turns around and says, "Oh no, not, on second thought, let's not colonize Mars. They made it look like, Earth, but red in the background. There's Exxon, and McDonald's." All right. This is a problem as well. Evelyn Janetti, a woman, I'll just say. Um, we seem to be alone in the Milky Way. Imagine how many alien civilizations were extinguished before archiving. I think that's archiving. Take their species to another planet. That is why it is important for humans to become a multi-planet species, colonize Mars, and expand beyond our solar system. Um, when I left home, there were ships in the sky. We're not alone. This is my point. This is like not teaching your kids to not walk on the train tracks. There needs to be a conversation had, I guess. All right. They misspelled murder here. 94% of Belgian doctors support after-birth abortions for babies born with disabilities. This man is not wrong. That is murder in the first degree. And it needs to be addressed. Okay. A matter of fact, I know what I could use for that one. That would be the UN Constitution. Once that child takes his or her first breath, he or she has a right to life. No one has a right to rob he or she from that life. Alright, so Trump, we can colonize Mars. That's what this says. Hails Mars as NASA's next target. Says the moon's not so exciting. Alright. Anything else? Oh, there were lots of these. America needs leadership, yet we have a president who cares more about himself than the people who elected him. A president who makes every challenge we face even more difficult to solve. We don't have to accept that. In 80 days, let's elect Joe Biden. Okay. How about not? All right. First off, considering the fact that I was kidnapped and forced into all of this, he was a vice president before, I think. So he's also involved. Is he or not? Then just recently, I saw photographs of him grabbing on to kids. Then in addition to that, Trump posted a train video that was a computer graphic that was made to basically initiate rape. Okay, pulling the train. And Biden was the one pumping the train, and it was his voice as part of the computer graphic. I think they're funny. These are supposed to be world leaders, mind you. Okay, these are supposed to be adults. They're supposed to be classy, sophisticated. Okay, they are representing us as a country to the world. All right, as a country to the world. Now, can I remind you that we spent a whole bunches of cash to impeach a president for messing around with his assistant? Okay. And they weren't even sure if he did. And these people are up here making death threats and making videos about gang raping citizens, private citizens of the country. Think about that for a second. Death threats and raping citizens. And oh, by the way, some of those citizens are minors. But no matter how you look at it, it's right. So I want you to consider that, all right? Think about what's going on here. And then why. Okay? You need to calm down. I don't know. Oh, he's yelling at Taylor Swift. I was going to say, I'm not going to calm down. Calming down is not ever going to happen. I'm never, ever, ever going to calm down. Okay? So I don't ever want anyone to tell me to calm down again after this. Give me your kid. See how calm you stay. Here. 102. Even though Trump is afraid of losing, that's not what terrifies him. Even though Trump is afraid of prison, that's also not what terrifies him. A malignant narcissist is terrified to the core of one thing above all else, and that thing is humiliation. When someone behaves based on pathology, the first thing we learn as mental health professionals is to suspend logic as the primary link to action. You ask a perfectly logical question, but for example, Trump doesn't show empathy, not because he doesn't want to, but because he can't. Okay. This man says Donald Trump is a fucking criminal, and that's all. All right. We need a lion to change Washington, D.C. Keep your elephant, keep your donkey. We have a lion. But then it has Trump's name. There she goes again. Harris lies about the exploits of coronavirus. She has little to substantively to actually commend her for higher office. Harris is a last name that may have policies. There was a guard Harris in Lake County. May or may not be related. I do not know, but she wants to starve us some more. So yeah, I thought that was a pretty hateful statement that she was going to make sure that there was even less red meat available for Americans to eat. So she wants to add to our health problems, starve us some more. By the way, if we weren't supposed to eat red meat, why are they trying to take it away? All right. All right. Carrie next says they're putting chemicals in the water to turn the freaking fro eagles gay. I don't know exactly what this means, but I took note of it. Freedom from government intrusion has a new mascot. Eagles have nothing to do with politics. He's wrong, technically, but the thing is that it's the American eagle. Okay, so since it's the American eagle, and eagles fly above and they watch over you as they fly, and most of the time they sit up in the tree in the background and they don't even let you know that they're there. They just kind of observe. Um, but once in a while, they will come down to where you could see them, and then they'll, make a bunch of noise to get your attention. Um, I'm the lion and the eagle. I carry around a turtle. Okay, so those ones I'll take claim to. I'm the lion. Okay, some people know why that is. I'm also a Leo. I think it's an interesting point. Am I or not? I have lots of questions, some of which I may never get answers to. Okay. Damn eagle tired of government too. The eagle definitely does not like politics very much, and I'm tired of the entire situation because I want people to be happy and they're not happy, and I want to be happy and I'm not happy, and everything that's going on is making everyone very miserable. This is actually funny, sort of. I don't know exactly what was going on, but for whatever reason, it went off on him. I think that's weird. I don't know what that was about. Bald eagle took down government drone in Michigan, state officials say, tearing off a propeller and sending the aircraft to the bottom of Lake Michigan. I think some might have been trained to do that. I'm not sure. They train pigeons to do stuff like they have carrier pigeons. I don't know. Uh, the drone thing is it's a privacy thing. But then again, it's a fun thing too. So there has to be some kind of equal medium figured out. Then you have a UFO thing, but it's mostly privacy and like fairness. I don't know how you figure that one out. It's not. I don't know. Small potato. It's not my area. You go figure it out. All right, I got bigger worries than that one. It was brought up to me though. It really was. Um, um, this is gross. Okay, I don't know where it came from. I don't know much about it. But if you could imagine being me, and you don't know anything, all right, the golden shower story was always true. Multiple people inside the Justice Department told me years ago. And I find it odd that anyone would doubt that story given Donald Trump's absolute documented hatred for women. Okay. Uh, Dave used to be a bouncer. That was one of his jobs. That's part of how he did what he did. He also was a limo driver. I just don't know. His job as a limo driver was to pick up and drop off escorts. I don't know to whom. Many of the escorts complained to him and told him what was going on or being done to them. some of the things were shared with me. Golden showers was one. That's how I learned what it was. There was other gross things as well, such as women being made to urinate in their underwear, like go sit on the toilet with their undies up, and then leave the underwear behind. So, I don't know who it was. Okay, I just don't. I'm not sure. I let them figure it out. Okay, so, uh, I lived with a serial killer and a rapist and a pedophile, and I married a guy who masturbated to a cast wearing a nylon. Okay, I'm gonna go back to the next thing. Oh, here we go again. When Joe Biden heard about Trump's golden showers, he remarked, "Under my tax plan, the rich won't be so quick to waste their money on these kinds of luxuries." Um, can I ask a question? How do you get the entire government drug tested all at the same time? Oh. So Joe Biden wants to tax him because of is he a dog? I have to say that. Is he a dog? Because dogs pee on stuff. To mark their spot. This is so gross. I can't even believe this stuff is being said. Which means it has to. Wow. And it's being allowed to go on. That's the bigger thing. That it's being allowed to go on. That nobody has stopped it. I know how to, but I'm sitting here. Alright. I know whose job it is and how to go about it. Alright. In the same way, Germany and Japan built a lot of new housing after their cities were flattened in World War II. It's almost as if they've decided that they want new stuff, so they're just going to go flatten things. I mean, that's how I take that. We want some new stuff, so go ahead and flatten it, destroy it, tear it all up, and we'll just give you new stuff. Created more jobs in the last 3 months than Joe Biden and Barack Obama created in their 8 years of office. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Don't even. Just don't. Um, somebody is defending Bill Gates. Please don't waste your time. Okay, I give up defending Bill Gates. His incorrect comment on HCQ, which I don't even know what that is, side effects, is disqualifying. Now it's obvious something is going on with HCQ because Gates doesn't make that kind of mistake. This has to be intentional disinformation. Okay. Excuse me a second here. Alright, listen to me. Um, how many of you out there have gone and stood in line at all hours of the day and night to get the next version of Windows, got it home, installed it, which took you God knows how long, and caused you probably to lose half of your data, only to find out that it was full of bugs, that it didn't work right? Okay. Gates doesn't make that kind of mistake. There's that, and then there's just chipping stuff, okay, and hunting stuff. There's policies. Gates makes mistakes, okay. Guess he became God. Alright. This is interesting. I don't blame Trump. He's a cheater, a liar, and a crook. This is what he does. I blame every Republican leader that stands idly by while Trump ruins our democracy. I also blame every American who is too lazy to pick up a newspaper and participate in our democracy. Alright. I don't blame Trump. But they're standing next to Trump, so you blame the people standing next to him, but you don't blame him. So. Okay. It's like an oxymoron comment. Now you understand why I stay out of this stuff. All right. So, what you have here is a whole bunch of policy holders. Okay. I don't know why they bought them, if they bought them, but it's all conspiracy. All right. It sucks. Okay, I'm sorry. But if you stand next to a Nazi, that makes you a Nazi. Okay, Nazis aren't your friend. They'll kill everyone off, and then when they're done killing everyone off, they'll also kill you. So or because you made them mad. Nazis are not your friend, no matter what. Okay? Pretend to be your friend. They'll act like your friend. But a Nazi is not your friend. After this ordeal, alright. Would someone please ask Trump about the 165,000 dead? I will. As soon as I can. I can't right now. And I know that number keeps climbing, and it's upsetting to me too. I expect, or suggest, or I'm hoping, not hoping, I'm thinking, I don't know, and none of those other things. I suspect that would be the correct word, that some may be suicide. That's very, very possible. Some may be revenge killing. Okay. Some may be faked deaths. Okay. And some may be casualties of the entire ordeal. Okay. Innocent victims that were caught in the middle. I just part of why I'm so angry. Some people have these misconceived or strived ideas that if a parent had done a crime, participated or facilitated a crime, that automatically makes the child more susceptible of doing those same types of things. Obviously, that's not true, um, but they do think that way. So, in a situation like this, where poisoning may be going on, they're not really doing enough or what they should probably to keep the innocent victims that are actual innocent victims out of harm's way, because the way a lot of people look at this as it's a spawn or whatever. So, if mommy and daddy are poisoning each other and Junior gets caught in the middle, they're not doing the right thing about it. Junior's getting poisoned too, because they figure Junior deserves it, because he was born to mommy and daddy, and mommy and daddy. It's really messed up thinking, right? I think this is part of why they wanted to fund the police. It's like hating somebody because you don't like their name. Abusing victims of crime. Automatically assuming things. Going off half-cocked. Not really applying logic or reason. It's more convenient this way. I mean, if you don't do it, apply logic or reason, or even deductive reasoning, then you don't have to do anything. Just get up, go sit in a car at a desk, collect a check, go home. Deal with some traffic tickets, nothing major. They get paid either way. It's easier this way. Especially if they take a policy out of it. Alright. They're talking about the post office again. Here we go with voting and the post office all over again. I can't take it anymore. Is anybody tired of this? We go through this constantly. Did you notice that? I think they don't think we notice this. Notice what they've been doing? They have been running the same news story over again. So, like, they'll have a story, and, like, a few months later, they'll run the same story again and think you're not noticing it. It's a way to mess with people, isn't it? Sitting there watching the news going, didn't I see this before? I'm not supposed to do that. The Hill. Do you regret at all the lying you've done to the American people? Trump. All the what? All the lying, all the dishonesties. Trump. That who has done? Question or whatever. That you have done. Trump to the next reporter. Yeah, go ahead, please. No is the answer. He does not regret. Here's a good one. Did they give a sound scientific reason for wearing a mask on an online meeting? Did you hear about this? Wisconsin state agency requiring employees wear masks during online meetings. Wisconsin state agency requiring employees to wear masks during online meetings. I'm not trying to be funny But when are you going to figure out that somebody is poking? Are you gonna get up? Poke. Are you gonna get up? Poke. Are you gonna get up? Poke. Come on, get up. Wake up. Poke. Wake up. Have you figured it out yet? That's what they're doing. Come on. You're being provoked. Awake. Online meetings. What are you gonna catch a virus through a screen? So either you're being poked or they're really pushing the witness tampering thing a little too far. You pick. You stare at the word virus protection at the bottom of the screen all day long. It's on your phone too, a lot of you. You're working yourself into tizzies, being poisoned, walking around wearing a mask, being dried out, and they want you to wear a mask on online meetings so that you don't get the guy on the other side of the screen sick. So either they think you're incredibly dumb, or they're incredibly dumb, or you're being provoked. Wake up. You gotta say something about this. This guy said this is actually cute. He does that prevent computer viruses too? I'll put a mask on my laptop. Oh, here we go. Trump on Biden Harris. And this man, says they don't want to have cows. They don't want to have any form of animals noteworthy of truth. So I'm over here saying that you should eat cow. And I'm over here trying to help protect the animals. And they want to kill them all. We talked about subconscious. Biden commemorates anniversary of Charlottesville. Unite the Right rally. We are in the battle for the soul of our nation. It's funny he speaks. Well, this is definitely a very big mess, isn't it? Got dumped in my lab. This is a very big mess that got dumped in my lab. We have a president actively working to break our democracy. The truth comes out, he is trying to steal the election by withholding funding. Prosecute Trump is now trending. What is the biggest crime Trump should be prosecuted for? I have the list. I'm working on the list. I suppose you would start out with crimes against humanity, genocide, and then murder for hire, or no, treason, and then it would go down. Prescription of communism, treason. Federal statute first, then the RICO Act. Well, they're both federal statutes. Well, I think one's an act, so put that. They're both acts. Pick one. You have murder for hire. You have mass. This one would take me a while. I have to sit here and go through them all. Holy cow. Lake County and Indiana had a list that was like half a page long. And it's not even complete. It's actually probably like longer than that. This would be a good list, good size list. Well, you don't have to go through all that though, really, because I mean, you're looking at it's really not necessary. But you know, kidnapping, that's for one. I'm starting to get tired here. This is a scary thought. Two vaccine candidates are currently in the final stage of clinical trials, with several more entering phase 3 in the coming weeks. So if it's actually poison, what would that vaccine be? Unless it was Cipro, I don't think you're going to get very far. Stems would work. You know, stems would fix a lot of insurance problems. It would patch everyone up nicely. Oh, here's the pervert video. Okay, let me see if I can get it to play again.
I got hairy legs that turn blonde in the sun. And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight and then watch the hair.
See the crosses in the background? How they did that.
So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap.
Roaches. We learned about roaches. The girls and I are
kids
roaches.
Jumping on my lap.
This is oh no in the background. They think they're funny guys. They think they're hysterical. Aren't these great people? These are great people. These are good people. You could trust these people with your life. Actually, you did, and you do. You still are, and I don't know why. You must like being abused. You must like this kind of thing. It's nastiness. Alright, 96% approval rating in the Republican Party. Thank you. Well, I guess they approve of it. All 96% of them approve of this sort of nasty. That was posted on Trump's wall by Trump, by the way. His name's on the train, and Biden's. Pence's name is on there too, so it's all three. Get it? I'm not kidding around about the gross stuff. What's a train? Democrats have compromised repeatedly. We made clear to the Trump admin that we are willing to come down $1 trillion if they come up $1 trillion. Come on. However, it is clear that the admin still does not grasp the magnitude of the problems that American families are facing. I'm laughing, but it's really not funny. Okay, I'm laughing because she starts out saying that they've compromised, but there is no compromise. Okay? So, because they can't split the difference, or whatever, and get along as per usual, The people are the ones that suffer. So it's just the way that, I mean, she's Camelia Harris is a very sick and disturbed. It's misleading. That's what it is. Okay, I know it might be meant to be sarcastic, but in a lot of ways, it's twisting and misleading. All right. Camelia Harris is a very sick and disturbed person, just an evil individual. Okay, well, she wants to take away our cows and starve us, so I'm on board with that one. I don't know what else was said, but I'll pay attention. I don't know if it's gonna help at this point. Is anyone else tired of all of this yet? Right? There's an entire country as well as a world of people out there. Are any of you done yet? Have you had enough of all this? Because this is why I'm yelling. Okay, this is why I'm screaming. This is why I'm going up. I mean, on top of the girls being stolen and everything else. But I mean, then to sit down and look at this and to know why, um, and the arrogance and everything else. I mean, come on, wouldn't you be mad? All right, we were making progress a while ago. Florida sheriff bans deputies and visitors from wearing face masks. Well, I think the visitors should wear face masks. In fact, I think the visitors should have to wear face masks for the rest of eternity. Don't let them take it off. But the ones that belong here, they can take theirs off. Sorry. Anyways, it was definitely progress. It was good to see them stand up and to wake up and realize that this wasn't the best and healthiest idea. It also sets a good example for other people, especially if it's struggling. They're from Florida. They had land in Florida, so that might be part of why. My only concern is that he's being the way that he is. You have to also be careful for cyanide gases, people dumping in the sewer, that sort of thing. And then it coming into yours from somebody close by. That's really my only thing. So if anybody starts to feel not so good, they might want to cover up those sewer drains and sink, you know, holes for the sink, because it goes, if you cover up the main sewer drain, then it'll go up the pipes into the sink and come out the sink and out the tubs. So you want to cover those up too. If you see trails, see how my hand's doing that on the screen? Like, sort of like that in front of your face. That's cyanide. Okay. See trails? That's cyanide. All right. That's actually a good way to show you what that looks like. Except instead of in front of the screen, you'll see it in front of your eyes. And that's how you know it's cyanide. That would be vitamin K. If it's bad enough, it hurts bad. Oh, I love this. I'm hoping this is sarcasm, but who knows? The arrogance is so bad. Um, Trump to South Dakota governor put me on Mount Rushmore. I think he's doing this stuff on purpose. Poke, poke, poke. Seems to me like that's what they're doing. I think this is interesting. UFO Seekers asks what's up with Starman Elon Musk. I don't know. I guess I'll have to look into. I don't know all these people's names yet, or what their stories are. It's a familiar name. I'll have to look it up and re-educate myself before I say. All right. Breaking Speaker Pelosi calls Trump's bogus executive actions unconstitutional. Unconstitutional. I'm not taking a side at all. I don't think anyone who works for the government at this point should be spouting off anything about unconstitutional slop after the last 7 months of our lives. Um, I don't think they should ever mention, none of these people should ever mention the word unconstitutional anything. Unless it has to do with what has been done to the actual people by them. Defund Fossey. I'm not going to say. Article 2 of the Constitution dip. Our Constitution doesn't authorize the President to act as king whenever Congress doesn't legislate. It's also not supposed to be thrown right out the window either, for any reason. Going to guess that he didn't die of natural causes. Hunting is part of why. Taking the Constitution away does not keep people safe. It actually puts them in more harm's way. It really does. Taking away people's freedom and puts them in more harm's way. They think it keeps them safe. You know, it doesn't. It's the opposite. It really is. In order to stay alive, you need freedom to roam. You need the ability to be able to make your own choices for yourself. Um, if somebody comes along and takes those freedoms from you, it could be a lot easier to take control of you, and you could lose your life a lot easier that way. You're much more better off if you have freedom and liberty. I mean, obviously, a way to obtain justice and happiness. Because when you over constrict, sometimes you can put people in harm's way. It's like that movie Fences. You know, people build a fence around a house to keep the bad people out. You buy steel doors to keep the bad people out. But sometimes you don't realize that you're actually locking yourself in with them. Okay? So we spend money on these things, and they are a good thing. They're needed, obviously, due to crime. But when you're a victim and you put those things on your house, you're not thinking about actually what you're doing, because you think you're trying to keep the bad people out, but you also are keeping the bad people in with you. Now they're locked inside. You don't really want to be locked inside with a crazy person. Okay. Freedom is definitely better, because at least that way you can get out. But there also has to be, there's supposed to be services and stuff, and some do. There are some, but a lot of them don't seem to have any real help yet, or they're hard to find. So far and few between and hard to find. Maybe fill up quickly, what have you, I don't know. But, or absconding is going on. Hopefully it's not absconding. Who knows? But the thing of it is it's a big mess. so plus, with all this, you're not really teaching people to be responsible for themselves. You're still making them reliant on someone else to make choices for them. They need to make their own choices, especially if they're adults. They don't need mommy and daddy telling them what to do. They are grown-ups at this point. But at the same time, on the other hand, as well, if there was some sort of health catastrophe, it's not really the government's job to handle all the aspects of that catastrophe. For some reason, they all of a sudden decided that it was, and that's actually part of what the problem is. It didn't used to be. If there was some kind of health emergency, usually for the most part, first off, there really shouldn't be, but for the most part, I think they just, people would go to the doctor, and the doctor would handle it. After a while, they might notify, but gave them, you wanted them to step in on these types of situations. Um, and now it's sort of like, oops. Um, Basically, the bottom line is if people are really being poisoned, if they're committing suicide, if they are faking their deaths, if they are killing each other out of revenge or whatever reason that they have, um, that needs to really be said to save people's lives. It seems to me that all these things have been brought up to me numerous times. There has to be a reason. I would think. All right. I'm gonna say it. Uh, I have to cough, but at the same time, I have to laugh, and laughing makes me cough. And surely you jest. Um, Unlike Joe Biden, Vice President Mike Pence properly recites the Declaration of Independence and understands its meaning. Light blue background by. All right, this is an example of twisting. Um, this is actually an example of twisting, and it wasn't right. It was also a possible, not sure, but considering what was said, let me see if I can pull if it'll show. Give it a second. It takes a second. All right. All right. This is an example of twisting.
No, I haven't taken a test. Why the hell would I take a test? Come on, man. That's like saying you, before you got in this program, you take a test where you're taking cocaine or not. What do you think, huh? Are you a junkie?
What do you say to President Trump, who brags about his tests and makes your mental state an issue for voters?
Well, if he can't figure out the difference between an elephant and a lion, I don't know what the hell he's talking about. Did you watch that? Look, come on, man. I know you're trying to goad me, but I mean, I'm so forward looking to have an opportunity to sit with the president or stand with the president in debates. There's going to be plenty of time. And by the way, as I
Do you know about subconsciouses? Do you know about what these people do? They do bad things and then they accuse you of it. All right. Um, Now, or they blurt it out. What they do, like that. Okay. Now the problem is he didn't say that. He did not at all accuse that man of doing drugs. It's not what he said. Okay. It's not even close to what he said. The statement was twisted. But at the same time, he might be trying to tell you that he does. Okay? But you don't even have a concrete on that. That it would be one of those things that you would hold on to and watch. Then you would start to, like, okay, you have my attention now. All right. So that would make your, you know, that just a little, and then you start to pay closer attention to that person. Um, but he did not say that that man did the drugs. He did not make that accusation. That's not true. And the man did not accuse him. So, but this is my point about twisting, and I've watched it, so I can understand in some ways what is going on, and it made it hard at first. You know, it made it difficult to catch on. Like, wait a minute, all right, it looks like this person's being attacked. Why are they being attacked? I don't understand why they're being attacked. Of course, memory problems. Okay, so then I'm like, all right, well, I still have to do the right thing, even though they're being attacked, because it's not my place to do attacking, and not it can get you into trouble. So I'll do my job and I'll do the right thing, but I'm also going to pay attention and see if I can catch on to why they are doing and saying what they're saying, where this is all coming. Attacking is one thing as long as it's true. You know, you don't want the twisting, you know, or reading too much in. It could have just been an example, but it was definitely a strange one. I mean, there's a such thing as a joke. I guess I don't expect them to joke because they're not. That's supposed to be stuffy job. Serious. Taken seriously with all seriousness. And maybe if they pointed out this is a joke. But even when people do that, it's not. I learned that one from Dave too. It's just a joke, but then it's not a joke. What would he say? I'm joshing you. You're so gullible. All sorts of things that discount to put doubt into your mind and to try and, you know, and it worked too. I would never, stuff like that. And it did, it worked on me. I had no clue what was going on and no clue about when I was young. That's dangerous stuff there. That's sinister. Nicholas Sandman, I learned that what was happening to me had a name. It was called being canceled, as in annulled, as in revoked. canceled is what is happening to people around this country who refuse to be silenced by the far left. You should just stopped at the refuse to be silenced. This other guy said in regards to this, I just keep thinking Hitler Youth when listening to this speech by Nicholas Samuel, which I didn't listen to, but I did say, and I will. This is a very brave thing. I'm very proud of him for standing up and at least saying.
I was trying to follow a family friend.
Let me see here. He's telling his story.
My name is Nick Sandman, and I'm the teenager who was defamed by the media after an encounter with a group of protesters on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial last year. Before I begin, I'd like to thank President Trump for the opportunity to share some of my story and why it matters so much to this November's election. In 2019, I attended the March for Life in Washington, D.C., where I demonstrated in defense of the unborn. Later that day, I bought a Make America Great Again hat because our president, Donald Trump, has distinguished himself as one of the most.
Alright. Somebody needs to meet with Nicholas, and that would have to be me. He is talking and talking and talking. He's yet to blink. I think he's hypnotized. He's not blinking at all. No blinking at all. No blinking. No blinking at all. I think that is definitely a sign of being hypnotized. No blinking at all. Yes, Nicholas needs some assistance. Who has been around Nicholas, and how do you find him? See the problem here. Alrighty. Oh yeah, not to drive you nuts. I have been tied, you'll walk right off a cliff. Alright. Oh Jesus. Okay, the DNC word in and of itself, I don't think is a good word. DNC is an abortion. I don't think that should be in front of people constantly. It's pretty gross. It's like they constantly want abortion on your mind. I mean, every time it's said, every time I see it, it's. I mean, there's no way to fix this. Really, there's got to be a way to fix this because there didn't used to be a such thing as a DNC. It's something they'd created, and that might have actually been part of the point behind creating that word. So it's constantly in front of you. They constantly use that word. So they don't want you to eat. They don't want you to reproduce. Mutilated genitalia, DNC in front of your face all the time. Rape. Obviously, you're not going to want to be touched, make love, and have a baby after. You know, extinction. Plus, you're strapped for cash, so you're strapped for cash. on top of that, you see what I mean? Won't be anybody left. You won't have very much good quality of life either. And also there's guilt and damage to your body. You're supposed to be able to have children and enjoy them. You don't have to have them all at one time, but you're supposed to be able to have children and enjoy them. And it's not really up to the government to be planting seeds or controlling, doing that kind of thing. It's up to you and you. I guess I view that sort of as conditioning, like you're just constantly seeing the word, so when the word's brought up to you, that makes it okay. It's like, you're not going for a political procedure. But it gets you used to that word, doesn't it? I don't know whatever happened to life happens exactly the moment this permanent really does. That starts a new life. You know, uh, sometimes, how do I put this? People die, maybe on accident. Something happened, and when they die, their soul leaves their body. Maybe their body just couldn't heal for some reason. Maybe something went wrong somehow. So the soul leaves, and sometimes it goes to a family member of the person. So it could be anyone, you don't know. And then it waits to be born. If you don't have babies, you can't be born. Just saying. That's how you get yourself to be an soul. There you go. At least that's how I have been explaining me. I think that's true too. Not sure, but it's possible. It makes sense. You have to have a life force in order to be here. We already know that there's a such thing as old souls. It's been talked about before. People who remember their past lives, they remember them somehow. That's part of how the soul kept the memories and was reborn. And still had to learn and grow, but the memories of the past lives were also makes sense. Happen lots of times. There's accounts all over the place. Sounds like weird stuff. It's not that weird. So it's not like the oddest thing in the world. I'm done for today. I'm really tired. I keep yawning on camera. My eyes are burning. I gotta take these things out. They're bugging me. And it's almost 1 o'clock. That's enough for tonight. Um, but you can kind of get my point why I'm aggravated. I'm being I'm not the only one, but we're all being lied to. There's a lot of goofing around going on, and then I find out somebody, like the man who's telling his story, but he's not blinking at all, and then I know what that means. So then that upsets me because, like, oh my god, somebody's got to help this kid, you know? It's not safe, that's not good. What else is going on in his life? Is he okay? You know, just like the girls, you know what I mean? So then, now you gotta, I'm not being mean. It's not like, oh my god, but it gets to be scary because when am I gonna get this done? Will I get to them in time? Will I be able to get these people help? It's a lot of pressure. First and foremost, they're my girls, but it's a lot of pressure. You see, this is what my point is. It's not just about me and them. You see other people that are being harmed and you want to help them. I don't know anything about him. I didn't watch the whole thing. It doesn't matter. If he needs to be unhypnotized, I might be able to help. I might not be able to, but at least I can try. I'd also like to know who did it to him and if anything else has been going on. You never know. Somebody might have put him up to that. So he sounded a little bit like Dave. I think he was telling his own story. I mean, I don't know. Something just wonky is going on, is all. Something very wonky is more so than usual. How do I unwonky it, make it back to normal? Of course. Well, I guess it never was. I guess I don't know what. I figured this out a while ago. That was part of my quest to go get the kids back so I could help. This is part of it. Of course, I didn't know it was this bad. Now I do. I didn't realize just how sneaky everyone is. How much they actually hate me just for being how much these people hate me. I do now.